right, let's talk a little bit of sport. The team to take on France this weekend on Sunday has been named. And what do you know? The All Blacks are actually on a 5-game winning streak. Can they continue it this weekend? And what do we make of this team? I'll fall back in our old mate, former All Black coach, Laurie Mains, to have a talk about this. Laurie, lovely to have you back with us. How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you. And you, Sean?
Yeah, good. Good. I watched Ireland. Can I just say I like getting up first thing in the weekend and starting the weekend with a live All Black test. I actually really enjoyed it the other weekend.
Don't we all?
But I tell you what, I looked at that match and I thought this is like watching England win a test match. We were just kicking our way to victory, and thank God for the try at the end. But I thought about it afterwards, Laurie. This is a new All Black team, and it's a different vibe than I've ever felt before. We don't go into every game thinking we're going to win it, and maybe that's more interesting.
Well, the team is building, and, they lost a lot of good players at the end of last year, and Scott Robertson has to rebuild the All Blacks, which I think he's doing very successfully so far. But we need to give the All Blacks some credit here. With that Ireland test. Ireland in the past few years have been a very strong, very positive team that's played positive rugby. I was incredibly disappointed at their attitude to the game against the All Blacks. They set out to kill everything to stop the All Blacks playing rugby, and that is why there were so many penalties. The referee had no option, and they just killed the All Blacks' chance of getting fast second phase ball, which is what they need to play the attacking rugby they like. So yeah. I still think it was a very good win.
All right. And what does that do? And geez, France, you just never know, do you, Laurie? They're either on and they're sublime, or they don't give a stuff and they're ridiculous.
Yeah, well, it's going to be a tough one. I can assure you of that with Armistice Day and the Pont back at halfback. They are going to be a tough team to beat. And the All Blacks have suffered a couple of injuries. I think they're down to at least their number 3 in open side flankers. Yeah. And that is such a critical position, against France. It'll be a tough one.
And do you think the old trope about the French being mercurial and on or off, do you think in the modern game that perhaps is not as true as it used to be?
Well, maybe. They still have their serious ups and downs, but when they've got reason to be motivated and playing at the Stade de France, and as I said, with what's going on in France just at the moment, I think they're going to be highly motivated and are going to be a difficult opponent to play.
All right. Look, I want to talk about a couple of individual players. Did D-Mac finally make the transition last weekend, do you think, Laurie, from being a very, very good Super Rugby player to being a genuine All Black?
Oh, look, I think he's no doubt got the ability to be a genuine All Black, but his defence, even though he does pull off a few great tackles, they have to change the All Black defensive pattern, and he spends much more time at fullback and covering back there than he does up at first 5'8", and I guess it's a little bit of a disruption to the remainder of the All Blacks. With defence patterns, all players want to be 100% sure exactly what's going on inside them and what's going on outside them, and they have to trust everybody because you can't cover up the same at this level of rugby as you can further down.
Yeah.
So that still lingers as a problem, that the All Blacks have to change their defence pattern when Damien McKenzie plays. He's a good enough player to be a great All Black, don't get me wrong, but there is that one flaw in his game.
Is this the last real test on this tour, Laurie? We can take Italy really as a training run these days?
Well, I wouldn't take it as a training run. That's asking for problems. But I would expect that the All Blacks will be able to win that game comfortably. This is the last of the real big hits. And what an incredible 3 weeks it would be if you beat England at home, you beat Ireland at home, and then you beat France at the Stade de France. It would be incredible. And it would be exceeding what I think my expectations were for the season.
Yeah, and I think it would exceed actually a lot of New Zealanders' expectations. Are you getting used to, though, Laurie? Are you getting used to watching the All Blacks and not knowing for sure they're going to win?
Yes, I am, because I understand what it takes to rebuild. At the test level, when most of your opposition have got settled teams and they're on a high, where the All Blacks clearly had to start from scratch, way below par for them. Yeah. This was the biggest disruption, I think, to an All Black team that I can remember for a very long time. I can remember, having to do this myself, starting with the team and rebuild it. And it takes time. So for that reason, I haven't expected the All Blacks to win all of their test matches, particularly on this Northern Tour. And I've been really encouraged to see both the development of the team and the tenacity and spirit within the team, but also the rising of some younger players. And
Cam Roygott's running on at halfback on Sunday, which I think is awesome.
Yeah, I do too. I think he's a great player. But Cortez Ratama has also played very well. So we've got two very strong players there going forward.
I'm looking forward to it, Laurie. I know you are too, and thank you for your very, very sage observations on what's going on. Hopefully the All Blacks prevail.
Well, I've got my fingers crossed, and I feel quietly confident that they will.
Good on you. Thank you for your time. Laurie Mains, former All Black coach. And I just like Laurie's style. He's straight up. There's nothing dramatic. He's not hunting a headline. He's just calling it how he sees it. And he's got I'll just run through the team for you. Number 1, Tamati Williams. Cody Taylor. Terrell Lomax. Scott Barrett. Tupavai. Samapini Finau. Artie Savia, vice-captain. Wallace Satiti. Cam Roygaard. Bowden Barrett. Caleb Clark. Geordie Barrett, vice-captain. Scott Barrett's the captain, of course. Rico Iani, Sevu Reece, and Will Jordan. And in the reserves, Asafo Amar, Ofi Tuangunfasi, Pasilo Tosi, Patrick Tui Piloto, Peter Lakai, Cortez Ratama, Anton Leonard-Brown, and Damien McKenzie. And unavailable due to injury, Sam Kane, concussion, Mark Talia, hand, Sam Derry, knee, Ethan Blackadder, calf, Luke Jacobson, fractured thumb, and Dalton Papali'i, upper hamstring. So that is, that's the team. Can they do it? If they do it, they're going to return, and they beat Italy. They return from the Northern Hemisphere undefeated. I don't think most of us would have picked that when they went up there.